It's the penultimate qualifying of this season. Hello and welcome everyone to the biggest final of the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. Bienvenido a Jarama. It's good to be back here, and yes, we are so absolutely ready for this weekend and still some scores to settle. For example, the battle of rank 3, and also in the chrome category, still really action to see. And speaking of action, our commentator, the voice of this tournament, this is Chaz Drake, and welcome. Hey Chaz. So for me personally, one of the highlights we witnessed last weekend at Le Mans, it was that racing in between Steffi Harm, Norbert Kisch. It was technically fine, it was absolutely clear, and it was thrilling absolutely till the last second. What was one of your memorable moments?
I think we can't really speak about 2024 without mentioning the 11 wins on the trot that we had from Norbert Kisch at the start of the season. You know, we came into a new championship and we thought maybe they aren't invincible. And immediately out of the gates, Norby won race after race. He did a Grand Slam at Misano, then did it again at Slovakia Ring. It was so impressive. You can't ignore it. And, you know, he's done it again this year, winning his 6th championship title. It's been very impressive. But there's been so many great scraps in all of the chrome classes as well between those drivers. There's been a lot of flip points in the championship where drivers have ended up going from second to third to second. I mean, we look at Mark Taylor and Stefan Faas at Le Mans. On Saturday, Stefan had a really good day, took back second in the championship, and then Mark took it back again on Sunday when Stefan had a bad day. It's just been so amazing, and to see it come to this final weekend in Jarama, it's just going to be awesome.
Absolutely, we do see beautiful weather conditions, and you mentioned the Hungarian powerhouse, but he wants more. The title is already there, and Jochen Hahn told him, welcome to the club, 6-time champion right now, but he's really aiming for some more points this weekend. Is that one of his main character aspects?
Yeah, definitely. He's a perfectionist. Norby and Reves Racing are all perfectionists. You know, they spend so much time working on everything to make sure every tiny detail is right. Even if they win every race or put it on pole position at every round, they will still strive for more because they'll want to win by more and just make sure that it does it in a more efficient way. You know, they're so efficient. It's brilliant to see it. And one of the best things about the championship is that the other teams don't see it and they think, you know, the FIA need to do something to slow them down. They see it as a yardstick and they think we need to be that fast. They see it as a good thing, and it is, because it's the development of the sport before our very eyes, and it's just awesome, really awesome, and you have to congratulate them on it at the end of the day, and the respect from the other teams is just huge, so hats off to them.
Yeah, we do see 17 trucks on the grid. That's absolutely great, enormous this season. Yeah. And of course, we do have some new race-by-race entries. And sometimes if they come on into the paddock, into this big We Are family, one truck family, this is absolutely nice for them to see, and they want to stay. This is one of the best momentums of the series that it has involved, and the one truck family is absolutely real.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I always say it in our broadcasts that you see the hashtag one truck family around everywhere that we go. We don't just say it for no reason. You know, it really is a family here, and we've got the likes of Simon Faulkner back with us this weekend, Craig Reed as well. His brother Simon is here, but unfortunately not racing with us. We don't have Stefan Kirsch here this weekend, but I'm told he is around the paddock still enjoying the atmosphere, and it's great to hear from those guys that they love it so much here. They say that it's so refined, the championship is so well presented, and you know, Craig and the like live about 5 miles away from me, and to come here and be greeted as Ode, which is a very Stokey phrase, is just a very strange thing for me, but they embody it and they enjoy it. And at the end of the day, as a lot of the teams have said to me this weekend, because I always ask them, are you coming back next year? They always say, why wouldn't we? You know, if we weren't enjoying ourselves, we wouldn't do it. And everybody here is enjoying themselves, and it's great to see.
Absolutely. As you can see, the road haulage industry is absolutely there, also represented, and everyone around, because what works on the racetrack definitely should work on the normal roads at high speed level, technically improvement, and also very sustainable there. So I think that we made a huge step also with the FIA 2-star accreditation this season. So this is also a big step for the series.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the main things is we always talk about the HVO diesel, 100% renewable HVO diesel that these trucks run on. It's not just the case that that's the only sustainable measure. You know, there's so many of the teams and the personnel behind the scenes as well that go towards that. We had T-Sport Burnau have got environmental accreditation awards as well, and there's so many of the teams that are looking to run electric trucks to bring their race trucks to the circuit in the future. There's just so many moving parts that can be improved and fine-tuned, and the whole series does it together very well.
Absolutely. So we do see the trucks are lining up, and Antonio Albacetti has got the biggest fan crowd. Just have a quick chat on the rank 3 battle in between Sascha Lenz and him. This is already, given him, he knows that track so well. He's been performing here. We've had a ride on a Mini some years ago, and so Antonio Albacete, he's definitely on the spot here, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in front of his home fans as well, he loves it here, absolutely loves it. I was speaking to him just yesterday, and he says that he's never got time for anything here because he's just hounded by fans constantly. They worship him here in Spain. It's amazing, and we'll see the bank across there completely full with fans all weekend. His usual fans with the chainsaws will be out as well. It's just awesome, and he seems so happy to be here, and that's one of the best parts of it.
And we're so happy that you are here on site without commentating right now. You just need to go to the steps down to your booth.
I do indeed. Well, thank you very much for having me on camera. I apologise for the face, but I'll see you very soon.
Yeah, sunshades on. It's fine, Chaz. It's absolutely fine, Chaz. So as you can see, the trucks are lining up, and Jochen Hahn is also entering, and Jonathan Andre is back on the track also. We do have 17 trucks on the grid. We've got the race-by-race entrance. Bradley Smith, Andrea mentioned, Craig Reed, Simon Faulkner, Chaz mentioned already, and they want to enjoy also this final race weekend with the battle of the Chrome category, with the battle of rank number 3 in between Sascha Lenz and Antonio Albacete. Still more action to go. And race number 1, this is the race where you need to get in front and the need for speed. And Norbert Kisch, he's trying to win this race. Number 1 is always throughout the season. He has made an impressive performance throughout the season, and also he's but he was kind of in the zone. I asked him right now what time he needs to prep himself, and he wanted every minute he could to get ready for this race, and I can absolutely understand that. As you can see, the fans are cheering up. Heinrich Clement Hecker is right now entering the grid. So yes, and what is also interesting, Chaz mentioned all the fans here with the chainsaws, no blades, no worries. They're just rumbling around, and throughout there they're doing their picnic. They have their sunscreen and shades and everything on. This is absolutely nice to see. Every time we're here, we're really enjoying that atmosphere. It's also, the drivers can hear it, and I am absolutely sure that if Antonio Albacete is coming around that track for the first time, he will get his applause. But I'm absolutely sure also that Sascha Lenz is going to take that in favor of him, because he wants, of course, this to the 23 points. This is the gap in between those two drivers. But speaking of our commentators, we do have in our live streams Joachim Eberts and also Fonsi Cebrian. This is his track right now. Of course, he's the Spaniard. He's so enthusiastic. Thanks to all of our commentators. Chaz Record is also in his booth. So let's have a quick look at the highlights of Le Mans.
Thank you very much, Christina. Yeah, fantastic to be here at Jarama, but it was very different a week ago at Le Mans. As you see, conditions nothing like they are here. It was a bit wet and miserable and windy, but the action was just as hot. It was fantastic fun at Le Mans. So much great racing up and down the order, whether it be Norbert Kisch and Jochen Hahn at the front of the field breaking away, or the immense battles that we saw in the Chrome class as well. So many points on offer over a course of a race weekend in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship that you cannot let a single one slide by. Norbert Kisch started the weekend in fantastic fashion, hoping to take his 6th championship title. He beat Jochen Hahn and Antonio Albacete to the podium in race 1. Race 2 was a real story of the Chrome class though, with Jose Eduardo Rodriguez and Lucas Hahn starting on the front row. Unfortunately, no Lucas Hahn here this weekend. It'd be great to have him back with us at some point in the future. He did mention at Le Mans actually that he could come back as a full-time driver, which would be epic. But Jose Eduardo Rodriguez was once again on form, taking an overall race victory, and let's not forget a win in the class as well. And he was one race away on Sunday from taking the Chrome Championship outright. Norbert Kisch had another fantastic start to his day on Sunday, taking another race win, and with it, the 2024 championship. The battles behind, though, were just as good, and we saw Jose Eduardo Rodriguez playing it safe just to make sure that he would get to the end and score the points necessary, but it was all about Norby. 6 championships now, equaling Jochen Hahn, 4 on the bounce with 11 wins in a row earlier this year. It looked like he and Reves Racing were completely unstoppable. For the final race, it was once again Lucas Hahn and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez on the front row. There was a little bit of chaos further back in the pack with the Chrome class. I think it was Louis Ruquenco going out of the race early on after contact with Clemens Hecker. but the battles where the Titan drivers came through were fantastic as ever. Lucas Hahn defending brilliantly at the front of the pack, with Steffi Halm just behind, Sascha Lenz and Norbert Kish in the picture as well. But Lucas Hahn took a very popular overall race victory and came away from Le Mans with the first podium of the year that didn't feature Norbert Kish, Jochen Hahn, Sascha Lenz or Antonio Albacete, as you see there. These are live pictures, though. As you can see, very hot here at Jarama. Don't get me wrong, I'm going a little bit thin on top with my hair. I'm certainly burning my scalp, but it's a fantastic place to be with this beautiful weather. We still have championship battles to think about. Let's not forget, at the end of the season, we still have the battle between Antonio Albacete and Sascha Lenz coming into this final race meeting. It's Sascha Lenz who is now, I think it's 23 points clear of Antonio Albacete. And then, of course, we've got the tighter fight between the second and third place drivers in the Chrome class. We have Mark Taylor just ahead of Stefan Faas by 4 points going into this race weekend. And the two of them, much like last time at Le Mans, will probably swap positions multiple times over the course of the weekend, and we're looking forward to seeing whether they do that for us and put on a hell of a show. Obviously, it's not just them in the Chrome class, though. We need to remember that Jose Eduardo Rodriguez is champion for 2024. We enjoyed a lot of karting yesterday evening as well. A lot of the drivers and teams all got together at the kart circuit that is here at Jarama, and many of us all went out and did multiple timed sessions. I like to remind everybody that I was fastest in my group, thank you. But there was a lot of great entertainment last night. And as I mentioned with Christina just a moment ago, it's one of the friendliest paddocks in the world, if not the friendliest paddock in the world, and to have somewhere where all the drivers and teams can get together like that and do something as social as the karting that we did last night and all come away with a smile on our face and enjoy ourselves, it was just awesome. Really awesome. It was great to be a part of it as well. Very grateful to be involved in things like that. But as we have now, we have trucks out on circuit. It's Norbert Kish leading Jochen Hahn and Sascha Lenz and Antonio Albacete. At the start of these sessions, they go out in their championship order as present, or they usually do. I noticed that Andre Curzin was a little bit out of sync. He's behind Jose Eduardo Rodriguez now on the circuit. He's 2 points ahead of him in the championship, though. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez having a fantastic run recently. 2 overall race victories this year and 4 overall podiums. The 2 podiums that he didn't win on came at the end of Misano and the end of the Slovakia Ring weekend, getting 2 second places. Sascha Lenz hoping to secure 3rd in the championship again this year. That's the reason he wears the number 3 on the truck, is that he finished 3rd last year. He's not had a race victory yet this season, and interestingly, looking at it, all of his podium positions, all 12 podiums this year from Sascha, have all been 3rd places. 3rd has been his best result of the season. He hasn't finished 2nd or 1st all year, so he's going to be hoping to break that trend here at Jarama. Somebody that's hoping not to break a trend here at Jarama this weekend is Norbert Kish. He's on for 100% pole positions this year, and if he does just 2 of them here at Jarama, which is well within his remit, he will come away with another 100% pole position record. But look at this section of the circuit here into Le Mans and Farina. It's so tight and tricky. We're going to see a lot of sends, maybe even contact down the inside into there. But all of the fans line that bank, and you can hear the air horns, you can hear them cheering in the background. It really is an epic atmosphere here at Jarama. A great way to end our championship. There's Antonio Albacete, local hero here in Jarama. Look at how the circuit wraps around. All the paddock and the car parking and everything is really packed into the inside of the circuit here. It's very cool. Everywhere you go, you're close to the track. Unfortunately, we will not have Simon Faulkner coming out on circuit for this session. He snapped a spring in free practice 2 just about an hour ago, and the truck is still being repaired, so he's taking the time to make sure it's all prepared and ready to go, and we'll start from the back of the grid in race 1. I believe he'll start from the back of the grid. It could be that he starts from the pit lane, but we'll have to see when it comes around to it. Either way, truck's on track at the moment, and Norbert Kish will be the first one to set a lap time as he heads around the final corner. Jochen Hahn and Sascha Lenz next up, and then Antonio Albacete ahead of Steffi Halm. Steffi said she was a little bit ill at the start of the weekend. We all greeted one another in the paddock earlier in the weekend. She told everybody to stay away because she wasn't very well. So hopefully she's feeling better as the weekend goes on. We'll get lap times coming through any moment now. And it will be Norbert Kish that sets the first of them. He's done a 1:58.066. He is nearly 0.6 of a second quicker than Antonio Albacete, who goes second. Sascha Lenz next up, then Steffi Halm, Andre Kurzim, and then we have Jochen Hahn in 6th position, ahead of Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. So Jochen not setting his optimal time, it's safe to say. We don't often see Jochen in 6th position at all. So he'll be hoping to definitely improve on that one. There is Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, leader in the Chrome Class Championship and now champion for 2024. He's got Mark Taylor a few tenths back, but he importantly is ahead of Stefan Fast. There's only 4 points between them at the moment in the championship. So Mark is looking to take that championship as quickly as possible. I'll have to see whether he can manage to secure it. With even just 1 or 2 races left, I'm sure he'd be very, very happy. Antonio Albacete on home soil, though, looking for a front row start at the minute. Let's not forget how the format works as well. We have all of our trucks out on circuit for Q1, and then we have the top 12 going through into the next session, which will be qualifying 2. And then we get down to the final 6 for a quick few minutes shootout. It's 5 minutes, and it's usually only 1 or 2 laps based on how quickly they get their warm-up laps out of the way. Looks like Antonio is going a bit quicker than Jochen and Sascha around the circuit at the moment. He's caught up to Norby. I'm wondering whether he's going to have another go at a lap here. You can see them creeping round towards the end of the lap now. What they do is they'll have a fast lap where they give it everything, and then they will slow it down for a lap after that, basically, just to make sure all the temperatures and everything come back to how they want them, and then they will gear it up for another run and start up another fast lap. But a lot of the time in Q1 like this, the drivers will slowly come back into the pit lane and they will remain there for the rest of the session, meaning that they're happy with the lap time they've set. They're at no threat of losing out and dropping into the bottom 4 positions. And then, of course, they are very, very pleased to carry on as they are. We're very close to Madrid Airport here as well, which makes me very happy. You can see an Airbus A380 landed in the background there. It's a perfect location for a geek like me to enjoy motorsport and aviation all in the same point. I've been making that very clear this weekend. These trucks may be big, they're not quite the size of an Airbus A380, but either way, they are big, monstrous machines. It's always great to be on site and see them in person. And I urge you, if you really haven't seen truck racing in person before, please do try and make it to one of our events. It's just amazing. Oh, dearie me, that is Clemens Hecker going straight on at the first corner. Hard on the brakes into turn 1. And he's got to keep the momentum going now. Try not to spin the rear wheels up too much. And the truck naturally digs itself out of turn 1 and he will rejoin the circuit. Dust kicked up everywhere. But it's a very hard braking zone, is turn 1. Very, very hard braking zone. You're sat at 100 miles an hour or 160 Ks for a long, long time. And then you've got to try and brake as late as you dare. It's almost a complete hairpin, but there's a slight left kink on the way in, which really does catch drivers out. And that's where you'll see them locking up brakes, because they still try and move the truck to the left-hand side. And that slight little horizontal movement while they're on the brakes really makes the rear axle snap up on them. So they have to be very careful in carrying the momentum, because let's not forget they're turning left before trying to sharply turn right again. You see here Jonathan Andre. It's great to have him back in the championship for this weekend, carrying the number 66 on the machine. And we're going to head back into the pit lane and we'll go and speak to Christina.
Yes, with Antonio Albacete, the battle of rank number 3. It's so thrilling for us. How cool and calm and collected are you?
Well, I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be tough, you know. I mean, we are very close. I will try to do a good lap, see if I can fight with Jochen for the second place. You know, it's gonna be difficult, but I will try for sure.
Absolutely, and it's on your home ground. How much extra power does that give to you?
Well, yes, it's always good to race at the home circuit. You know, there is a lot of fans, a lot of people pushing. So yeah, I'm very proud of that, you know. So yeah, I mean, you have a little bit more, you know, with this. I have a little bit of pushing, so I hope I can have a little bit more.
I said that you could hear them. Is that true?
Yeah, sure. When you go past to the S, you can hear the crowd. Yeah, for sure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So thumbs up here. The mood is good, and as you can see, extra push from the fans outside.
Yeah, it's fantastic to know that the drivers can hear them from within the cab as well, because these trucks are mighty loud as well. That's another thing about seeing them in person. It is ridiculously noisy. These things are great. They do not do things by halves. We see Clemens Hecker now making his way towards the arena section, the S's. Very tricky part of the track. You can see just about locked up that front left. Looks like he's running wide of the corner there, but what he's doing is really squaring it off. So rather than take it through your head as a round corner, you've got to sort of make it more pointy and think about the exit and just get a good slingshot out of there. It's the same with the Farina hairpin as well. You've got to sort of go in really late and just chuck the thing at the apex, basically, very, very late. Get on the power and absolutely cane it up the hill. You can see the speed that he carries over the crest of the hill there, just catching the dust on the right-hand side and the curb before he gets to the hairpin at the very top end of the track. Another really difficult part of the circuit. It's very off-camber up there, which means that the inside of the circuit is slightly higher than the outside of the circuit. So as a driver, you don't really feel a lot of the grip as you're heading around there. It feels like you've got a lot of understeer. Whereas some of the hairpins on this track, like the Bugatti S's that they're coming into now, there's a lot of on-camber corners, basically. So it means that the circuit sort of leans in with the truck as you head around. So you feel like you've got all the grip in the world. But a lot of the guys have been riding around the circuit on scooters and bikes and all sorts to do a bit of reconnaissance before the weekend, get used to the circuit itself. And they've all said the same thing, that so much of it is off camber at the top end. You really don't realize it until you're on the track itself. And we often get told the same things, that the broadcast, you can't always tell from the pictures on TV just quite how cambered parts of the circuit are. Across the line then goes Clemens Hecker, 14th place at the moment. And we're going to go back to another driver that's on home soil for this weekend. Louis Requenco is with Christina.
Yes, we are here at his truck, and as you can see, the stop sign is still on. He's taking a sip of water, and we heard that he's been out of the track just a bit. Estabas un poco fuera de pista. ¿Por qué?
Quería bajar un poco más el tiempo que tenía. Iba con mejor parcial. Los dos primeros parciales mucho mejor, pero iba Hecker delante de mí. Me he despistado un poco y he apurado demasiado la frenada.
So he wanted to slow down a bit, giving it up a go, but then there were just people in front of him, he said, so he needed to slow down quicker, and this is why he ended up a bit in the gravel there. Posición 9, ¿qué significa?
Bueno, quisiera estar mejor, pero bueno, bien. Saliendo 9 puedo conseguir el octavo y salir primero, como el año pasado. Intentaré.
So I asked him, P number 9, what does that mean to you? And he said, yeah, it's not too bad, but I want to go first. Remember the last year was really good here. And of course, this is also home ground for him. He's absolutely competitive this time.
Yeah, we had a quick chat with Louis Requenco yesterday for some social media content, and even with the language barrier, we had one of his mechanics there as a translator. He's a fantastic bloke, really fantastic guy, very enthusiastic about his truck racing, really loves what he does, and it's great to have him on the grid with us again this weekend. Same with Bradley Smith as well. Bradley's a lovely young lad, very, very quick, always improving and working with Don't Touch Racing, to get this MAN dialed in this season. He's been working alongside the likes of Andre Kursim with Don't Touch Racing. Andre and Don't Touch obviously going their separate ways at the end of the season. But it's been fantastic to see Bradley continuing to develop as a driver. He was already very, very quick, but it's just to get to that extra sort of 5%, to work with a team as experienced as Don't Touch Racing in such a serious championship as the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. Bradley will get the necessary info and data that he needs and the experience from the guys, and it's been lovely to see it. I was racing actually against his dad Tony last night and having a good old scrap with him on the karts, and I hate to tell you that I overtook him multiple times. Sorry, Tony. but we had a great laugh doing it. That's the end of qualifying 1 anyway, more importantly. And it looks like Bradley's just missed out there, actually, in 13th position, with Clemens Hecker, Luke Garrett and Craig Reed missing out. Craig, another one of the British drivers that's made it over for this final sort of spurt of the championship. Let's go back into the pit lane, though, while the drivers come back around, and we'll speak to Sasha Lenz, shall we?
Yes, absolutely. Since this is one of the important weekend of this season for Sasha Lenz. So how do you going into that qualification right now?
You know, for us it's really important that we have a good start position. That Antonio, it's not so much in the front. And yeah, normally I can say it's a really relaxed qualifying. But, you know, when you sit here, then you feel the pressure going up and up and up for many minutes, you know, and then yeah, we will see.
How do you deal with that pressure? What are you telling yourself?
Yeah, I tell myself that I can do this, you know, and it's all in my hand. So it's really important that I have a clear head, and I hope I can drive a good lap in the next qualifying.
Sounds good. Thank you very much. And I can do this. This is really a mantra. We also need that, Chaz, don't we?
Oh, we absolutely do, yeah. We absolutely do. Some of these weekends are very hard working and very long, but I tell you what, it's not work, really. We really enjoy what we do. And Sasha's one of those people. Sasha's a driver and a mechanic, and he builds a lot of race trucks. I mean, I believe it's the truck that Norbert Kiss drives at the moment and Mark Taylor drives at the moment are all originally built by Sasha Lenz. He's an absolute master truck builder and a very, very handy driver as well, as he sits third in the championship at the moment, 203 points to his name, with a decent gap over Antonio Albacete right now. He's currently just under 60 points behind Jochen Hahn, though, in second position. Jochen will pretty much confirm his second position in the championship with a decent finish in race 1. I think as long as he finishes second or even just ahead of Sasha Lenz, I think Sasha has to catch up by quite a lot, and it needs Jochen to have a bad time in race 1 for him to have any chance of continuing on that charge. Craig Reed at the end of the session there, I don't think had an improvement on that final lap time. He set a 2 minutes 4.440 actually. He did improve, but only by a tiny amount, so he will remain in 16th position. As said earlier, Craig, very local to me back in the UK, he and his brother Simon and their transport business. And they are lovely, lovely people. Craig said, even though, you know, he, as a competitive driver, he was a little bit miffed that he was further down the order at Le Mans. He was still very happy to be there, really enjoying it. And he's gaining a lot of experience and a lot of momentum from being with us here in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. A quick word as well to other championship sponsors, Total Energies. You'll see the Total Energies fifth wheel, the 100% HVO fifth wheel on these trucks with the lovely little shark fin. I'm hoping to sneak one home in my luggage at the end of the weekend. But there's also Joost on board as well. We have Christine from Joost here this weekend as well. Saw her earlier in the media room and had a good catch up with her. It's great to have so many active partners of the championship that love being here with us and coming to see the events and see what the hard work all comes to. And I mean, look at the amount of fans that we have here on the banks of Jarama. It's just lovely to see it. The umbrellas would lead you to think that it's raining here, but I tell you what, the sunshine is mighty intense here. Even though it was cold this morning for practice 1 and practice 2, the sun was still bearing down something fierce on the pit lane. And just standing in the sun for a little bit, you could feel yourself burning. Typically, as an English person, I burn very easily, especially as I've been at home for a few months and not out on site. So it's a case of, as soon as I find the sunshine, I seem to just turn pink. But it happens that here in Spain, they're well prepared for sunshine, which is quite funny, isn't it? Strange how those things go hand in hand. There's Craig Reed then, just making his way back around the circuit. It's a mandatory cool-down lap at the end of the session, basically. Once he's back in the pit lane, then we will get Q2 underway. I'm told that the session will start at 1:21 local time, so that's less than 2 minutes away. Thank you once again to Alice Holloway, who's in race control, sending me information as and when. There you can see, even in the grandstand on the start-finish straight, there's a lot of fans there as well. There's some very enthusiastic young fans there this morning with air horns. We thought for a while they were just cheering for their favourite drivers as they came past and sounding the air horns when their favourites went by. But no, every single truck got an air horn blast eventually. It was almost a constant noise from the grandstand, and it's great to see the enthusiasm from all the different generations here involved in truck racing and enjoying truck racing. It really is one for the family. There's the top end of the circuit, and you can really see that camber there, actually. As they come over the crest of the hill, you can see how tall the curbs are. They have to go one way, then the other very quickly and straighten the truck up immediately for the heavy braking zone here to this long right-hander. You get an idea there of the width of the circuit, a bit of maybe potential bodywork or a part from a truck there being carried back by a marshal. Hopefully nothing serious for anybody that's caused any problems. Just waiting to see now the pit lane go green. And we are now green, and there goes the light at the end of the pit lane. So qualifying 2 underway, so it's the top 12 trucks from that previous session. So Norbert Kish will lead us all out. They tend to get them in a line at the end of the pit lane in the order of the session that they just finished. So for Q1, it's championship order that they go out in. Then for Q2, it's the order from Q1. Q3, the order from Q2. You can see them all now making their way back out onto the circuit. Jochen Hahn there ahead of Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. Jochen will want a lot more from this session after finishing in 6th place last time. He'd be right on the cusp to get knocked out, because from this session we take 6 through into Q3. So just to run through them, we've got Norbert Kish, Antonio Albacete, Sasha Lenz, Steffi Halm, Andre Kursim, Jochen Hahn, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, Mark Taylor, Louis Requenco, John Newell, Stefan Faas, and Jonathan Andre in Truck 66 completes our field. They're shorter sessions as we go on, so this is 10 minutes long, this one. And then the third and final session will be 5 minutes long. They're all on outlaps now, just getting the temperatures and everything where they want them to be. They've sat in the pit lane for a bit of time, so they run the trucks up to get some cool air through them, make sure everything's operating as intended, and then they'll wind it up for their first fast lap of the session. You can see John Newell ahead of Stefan Faas. Be interesting to see if John helps Mark in any way this weekend in the Chrome Championship battle. I know there's some good allegiance between some of the drivers there. Let's not forget as well that Clemens Hecker is teammates with Stefan Faas as well, so he may help Stefan in this final race weekend of the year, because with only 4 points between Mark and Stefan, it is mighty, mighty close. There are 5 points difference between first and second in the Chrome class as well. And then it's 2 points between each position from then on. Actually, I lie. I tell you a very barefaced lie. I do apologise. Between second place and third place, there's 3 points different. And then everywhere else, it's 2 points down to the last couple within the top 10. So I can hear out the window now that the trucks are powering up down the start-finish straight. The inevitable rumble completely shakes the media centre here at Jarama. It's fantastic. You get an idea of how steep that hill is out of the final corner as well. They have to be so careful not to hit the speed limit as they come down that hill. Very easy to clip 100 miles an hour, 160 kilometres an hour before they get there. And Norbert Kish once again moving towards another pole position so far. Apologies if you can hear a creaking noise, by the way. The table I seem to be been given is determined to collapse on me. But either way, there's no glamour in my side of motorsport. I just enjoy being here and commentating on these fantastic racing machines, this very unique racing championship. And we hope that it provides good entertainment for all of you, wherever you may be watching from around the world. It's our absolute pleasure to bring you the truck racing here from the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. Norbert Kish really tight to the apex there through the right-hander. And again, you could see them sort of squaring off that corner, so they'll clip that apex curb, run a little bit wide of it, and then tuck it back in on the exit to make sure they get a good run. It's not always the fastest line to be completely glued to the inside curb all the way around. You won't be carrying as much corner speed when you do that. The hairpin at the bottom of the hill is so important as well. There's a really important gear change on the exit of that hairpin as well. You'll see the back end of the trucks kicking out. You'll hear the turbochargers whistle away. They almost chirp away, actually, as they change up through the gears. They release the boost pressure. There is Jochen Hahn, 6th position at the moment. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez just behind him on track, hoping to potentially follow his racing lines. That's one of the things that you can do in qualifying, is check what your competitors around you are doing. Norbert Kirsch across the line then, 1:57.872 for him, half a second quicker than Antonio Albacete, but by a few thousandths. Sascha Lenz goes quicker, just 8 thousandths of a second between the two of them. Andre Kurzim goes ahead of Steffi Halm. What can Jochen Hahn do as he crosses the line? He does a 1:58.444. That puts him in position 4 as well. He is less than a tenth off Antonio Albacete, but a good few tenths clear of Andre Kurzim. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez goes 6th. Mark Taylor goes into 8th position there in the number 81 machine. He's displaced by Louis Riquenco. What about Stefan Faas? He's ahead of John Newell, but importantly behind Mark Taylor. The two of them at that point would actually start side by side on the same row of the grid as well. Jonathan Andre goes into 11th place, just 11 thousandths of a second ahead of John Newell. So this is the important bit of qualifying now. Everybody's got their first lap times in, but they've not got long to do another circulation to then warm it back up for another lap. Apparently, Jonathan Andre's time is under investigation for track limits, so we may see that get deleted. We'll have to wait and see. But some of the drivers will head to the pit lane now. They'll be done for this session. They'll be happy with that. I expect probably the top 6, because Steffi Halm will want to give it another go to try and get into that all-important top 6 and then try and make it through into the Q3 session. We only take 6 trucks into there. It'll be important for Jose Eduardo Rodriguez to remain in 6th position as well, because that would mean that he's clear of everybody else and no other Chrome drivers will be in that final session with him. So at the moment, we are due to lose Steffi Halm, Louis Riquenco, Mark Taylor, Stefan Faas, Jonathan Andre and John Newell from this session. And going through would be Norbert Kirsch, Sascha Lenz, Antonio Albacete, Jochen Hahn, Andre Kurzim, and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. Once again, the fans watching on with great anticipation to see whether Antonio can displace Sascha Lenz on this qualifying grid. The gap is 23 points between the two of them. We had a similar battle coming into the last round of the weekend last year between Sascha and Antonio. Sascha just overcoming him at the end of the championship. But this year the gap is much bigger coming here, so Sascha will feel that little bit more confident. But he knows that out of all drivers in the world you could go up against, Antonio Albacete is one of the most formidable. He's had an incredible career spanning many, many years, many seasons in different championships. He's been Spanish Formula Renault champion. He's been in multiple factory teams in Spanish touring car championships over the years as well. Obviously, multiple truck championship winner as well here in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. And he's done it all. He's done it all as Antonio. And he's such a lovely guy with it as well. He's so humble, so great to speak to. And Sascha is punching amongst the legends here with Jochen Hahn either side of him as well, with Norbert Kirsch up there. Sascha really putting himself amongst it. He's going to be hoping for his best finish of the season this year. Like I say, I hadn't realised until now that 3rd position was his best finish, but he's had 12 podium appearances so far this year. There is Steffi Halm, currently running in 7th place in this session. She's had an overall race victory, which came at the Nürburgring earlier this year. Very, very popular win, winning round 14 of the championship. She's been on the podium 6 times as of Le Mans. There you can see on the left-hand side of your screen there the drivers that will be going through in green. And the drivers still highlighted in blue will be the ones that don't make it through to the final part of qualifying. It's incredible how quickly these sessions go, to be honest with you. They really do fly by. Steffi now really tucking the Iveco into the apex. And again, you can see, look, they run wide on the exit just to maintain the speed before they head back down the hill. I'm told that there's no further action on Jonathan Andre's lap time, so he will keep that. Steffi heads back up the hill now, making her way towards the final couple of corners. Really tense part of the lap here. You've got a slight kink to the right, but then you're braking while turning on there as well. And then back down the hill they go. Very powerful part of the circuit, but very intense on the suspension down there. They really lean on that front left suspension a lot. But they also need to be careful of the front right on that curb on the inside as well. We had a scary accident a few years ago with Shane Brereton having a moment down there. We're going to go back into the pit lane though. Jochen Hahn is there with Christina.
With the team and the chat, and we try to get through, push through here to speak to six-time champion Jochen Hahn. Jochen, the final race weekend, you could go easy on it, but the Battle of Rungsby is also very important around you. How does that have an influence maybe on your driving?
No, not really. I'm confident on place 2 in the championship. But anyway, I will beat Norbert Kiss, you know, that's the target. And now it's the time practice, and I think we are ready to do.
To do what?
To do maybe the pole position. We will see.
That sounds good for me. Thank you very much. So he's ready to go for pole position. Oh, that are breaking news, Charles.
Absolutely. Jochen is never a driver to back down. He will always go for it. And it's great to see him still in the sport. I was speaking to a good friend of mine from the paddock this morning, Michael Woolley, who's here with Taylor's Truck Sport this weekend. And we were just talking about the fact that Jochen's been in it for so long, but he continues coming back time and time again because, again, he's one of these drivers with a team behind him that they just enjoy themselves. If they didn't enjoy if they didn't enjoy it, they wouldn't do it. And they really do embody that. It's fantastic to see it. I had a good chat with Jochen as well this morning, and he was saying how lucky we are with the fact that it's been raining for about 2 weeks here in Madrid. And we come here and the sunshine comes out. It's beautifully timed. But he's in good spirits, as we've seen. Very positive, very enthusiastic about it as well. Very driven to make sure that he finishes the season with some more solid results. Jochen himself took a fantastic race win at Zolder earlier this year with his son Lucas finishing in second position in that race. It was an amazing moment. Jochen, like I say, will want to finish the championship with strong results. Steffi Halm across the line then. Is there any improvement on her lap time? It does not look like it, no. She was 2 or 3 tenths of a second off that time round, unfortunately. Stefan Fast crosses the line, and his best was a 2 minutes 0.4. He was about 2 seconds off it that time round, so no improvement there for him. John Newell will now cross the line in the background as well. Does he shave any time off? Doesn't look like it, no. No, he backed out on that one, actually. So I think John, in the final sector there, realised that it wasn't going to improve his position. So he just decided to save the momentum, save the truck. The drivers do make quick split-second decisions like that a lot. Where you'll see that they'll be partway around a lap. They'll know that it's not. They'll feel that it's not one that's going to help them improve, and then they'll back out of it. There's no point wearing the tyres down any further, or basically just draining the truck of water every time they use the brakes. They are water-cooled brakes on these machines. Sometimes when they drive slowly around the circuit, you'll see a few trails of water following them around, especially in the paddock as well. You see a lot of the engineers looking at the floor as if to be wondering whether, is that fluid supposed to be coming out? Is it okay? Usually it is. There's Louis Requenco on his way into the pit lane. One of the plainest liveries in the paddock from Louis Requenco, but it still works very, very well. My colleague Alice and I were staring at it in the pit lane this morning, talking about the fact that it's less is more. He hasn't got a massive load of sponsors all over the truck. It just looks good as a result. Let's go into the pit lane once more, shall we? And we'll speak to Andre Kurzin.
Yes, he's stopping right now. The team is having a chat with him. We respect that, absolutely. And it's the final race weekend with this team, with Don't Touch Racing, for Andre Kurzin. Final race weekend with the team. How's it going so far?
Yes, we want to try our best now. It's not easy for me. Maybe this year, next year again. Now hopefully we did a good job today and tomorrow, and yes, we will see.
How can you manage another fast lap?
Yes, we have some problems to find the right setup or the best setup here, and now we fixed some parts, and maybe we can go to P4, and we are very happy then.
Thank you very much. As you can hear, the sound of this rumbling machine, it's still on. We're on fire here at the qualification.
Yeah, it's remarkably loud down there in the pit lane. Hats off, Christina, because I don't know how you can possibly hear the drivers from down there with their helmets on and balaclavas and all sorts. Such a noisy place to be in the pit lane. Stefan Fast makes his way into the the pit lane. He finished that session in 10th position ahead of John Newell and Jonathan Andre. Get your words out, Chaz. We lost from that session Steffi Halm, Louis Riquenco, Mark Taylor, Stefan Fast, John Newell, and Jonathan Andre. So going into Q3, the final session of this morning's qualifying session, or I'd say this afternoon's qualifying session, Norbert Kish, Sasha Lenz, Antonio Albacetti, Jochen Hahn, Andre Kurzim, and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. They will go out in that order as well. They will leave the pit lane in the order that they finished Q2. Q3, I'm told by Alice, will start at 13:38 local time. So in just under 2 minutes' time once again. And then we'll get racing later on this afternoon. 2 more broadcasts to come this afternoon from us here in Jarama. First of which will be coming in just before 3 p.m. 5 to 3 will be the next live stream for race 1 of the weekend. And then at 5:10 local time will be the stream for race 2. So not long between races 1 and 2 for the drivers and teams to get everything together. It's a little bit earlier for everything tomorrow, moved forward by about 2 hours, where we have the first stream of the day just before 11 a.m., then the second one at 1 p.m., and then the final one of the entire season at 3:20 in the afternoon. We all have a great awards dinner to look forward to tomorrow as well. We go to a golf club just up in the hills, not far from Jarama, and everybody gets together to celebrate the achievements of the drivers and teams from 2024. It really is a beautiful time. There are the fans once again filling the grandstands around the circuit. They never fail here in Spain. They're just fantastic, so enthusiastic as well. I was having a quick walk through the paddock earlier with Clemens Hecker, and he was just constantly having to stop for fans. There were so many of them everywhere. It was really lovely to see the appreciation for our drivers. The sun is absolutely bearing down on the circuit, even though I'm indoors here, and I can tell you very gratefully that there is still air conditioning in here. It's still mighty warm in this room. You can just tell. You can feel it radiate from the windows as you walk through the media centre. It's incredible. Here we go then. Trucks making it out onto the circuit for the final time. And as you can see from the timer in the top left of your screens there, not long at all for them to get this together in this session here. We've seen it a few times this season where only 1 or 2 trucks make it through for a second fast lap. A lot of the time it's like a 1-lap sprint for our drivers. Norbert Kish ahead of Sasha Lenz, Antonio Albacetti, Jochen Hahn, Andre Kurzim, and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. You might see some of them pushing on a little bit here to try and hurry the others up in front of them or potentially overtake. Looked to me like Sasha really wanted to get on with it a moment ago. Not sure if they're actually told to hold formation during these laps or not, or whether they are allowed to overtake if they really want to. But a lot of the time they don't push it completely. So Antonio Albacetti will have many, many fans cheering for him. And it looks like Sasha Lenz staying quite close to the back of Norbert Kish's machine there. We're told as well ahead of this race weekend, after some
updates to our legendary EB system. EB, the German commentator, keeps a fantastic eye on all the statistics, and we all work together to make sure all the info we have is as true as possible from the archives of truck racing. That the fourth and final race of the season today rounds out a lovely number for Jochen Hahn. It's going to be his 850th race in race 4. Can you believe that? 850 races. And Antonio as well, I believe, from the years before he raced in the European installment of the championship. He raced in other forms of truck racing elsewhere. He's somewhere close to breaking the 900 barrier now as well. And I'm sure he'd love to go for 1,000 races. Some of the drivers keep a very close eye on statistics and figures like that. Others don't really mind. They just focus on the racing itself. They don't really worry about the numbers behind it or the story of it. They just enjoy themselves and want to get racing. There's our 6 drivers and across the line for the final part of qualifying. Down towards the first couple of corners they go. Norbert Kish hard onto the brakes into the hairpin. Sasha Lenz looked very smooth on the way around there. But again, it's amazing when you go on board with these machines. I was grateful enough to be taken out by Antonio Albacete at the Nürburgring just 2 seasons ago and do some laps around there. They look, because of the size of the machines, they look very smooth and like they glide around the track in most cases. But the amount of steering input changes and the amount of corrections that they have to do as a driver to control these beasts of machines is just amazing. They work very hard behind the wheel. You will sometimes see footage of them seemingly just glancing them off curbs and making them float around corners. But honestly, some of the inputs that they have are just miraculous. They have to be very nimble behind the wheel. There's Antonio hard onto the brakes now into the hairpin. Lets it run a little bit wide. And then look, runs wider and wider all the way out to that curb on the left-hand side of the circuit. No penalty markers out there to deter the drivers here at Jarama. Then full speed down the hill through the left kink, then straighten it up as best you can onto the brakes. There's a penalty marker on the right there to make sure people don't open up the corner too much. And then Antonio heads back up the hill towards the final sector. Apparently, Andrei Kurzim, truck number 11, is under investigation for track limits. So we'll see if he sets a time here that's above 6th position, whether it stands at the end. Across the line then comes Norbert Kish. 157.415 for him. And he's 1.1 seconds clear of Sasha Lenz. Antonio Albacete next up, though, behind Sasha, importantly for the championship. Will Jochen take 2nd place? No, he goes 4th fastest at the moment. Only about 0.5 of a second off the back of Albacete. Then Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. And then Andrei Kurzim in 6th place. He's not going to be improving his position by the look of it. Seems like Sasha Lenz wants to. He wants to go another position ahead here. He's got a 2nd lap in the books. Wasn't quite sure on who finished where and whether the timer ran out before Jochen Hahn got across the line or not. But it's Jose Eduardo Rodriguez that's currently in 5th place now, with Kurzim in 6th. Sasha Lenz now continuing on. I don't think that Jochen, Jose Eduardo or Andre got chance to do another lap here. Don't think Antonio did either, but we've got Sasha Lenz over the breast of the hill, down towards the hairpin at the bottom of the circuit, through the right, then through the left. You can see them kicking up dust as they try and run it as quickly over those curbs as they can. These trucks really do absorb curbs the way they run around a circuit. Antonio Albacete in 3rd position is on a fast lap, I can tell you. He is still pushing on to chase Sasha down. Not necessarily just Sasha, but of course lap times as well as a result. And yes, there is Andrei Kurzim's lap time deleted then for a penalty marker partway round the circuit. Antonio now making it up towards the final couple of corners. I'm not sure if he'd backed out of that one. It still sounded like he was going pretty flat chat. I think it's just he and Sasha that are now pushing at the end of this session. Let's see, can Sasha improve? It's 1.1 seconds to Norbert Kish at the moment. 1.3, nearly 1.4 seconds from Norby to Antonio. Sasha crosses the line. Doesn't look like an improvement for him. Can Antonio score a front row here in Spain? No, he cannot. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez going for another lap as well, but wasn't sure that he'd crossed the line before the timer hit 0. But no improvements from any of them there. It was 0.3 or so slower for Albacete and about 0.4 slower for Sascha Lenz. And Andrei Kurzim gets his time deleted. So it's Norbert Kish taking his, let me just try and count them now, 25th pole position. No, it won't be 25. I do apologise. We only have 2 qualifying sessions per weekend. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves there, shall we? That's going to be his 13th pole position of the season out of a possible 14. Listen to the fans, though, as Antonio Albacete makes his way back round. Let's go back down then and speak to Christina, shall we?
Andreas, du bist auf bei mir. So normally spring break sounds like a nice holiday, but in truck racing it's a disaster, Simon. So what happened?
It's not very fun actually when the spring goes. You're going around to go around a corner and then all of a sudden there's a big bang and then you just go straight on, to be honest. So yeah, it's nothing like a spring as we think of spring. So basically once your spring's gone, that's it. You're in, you're over, replace spring, hopefully get back out later on. We're just having a couple of issues with it at the moment. So unfortunately we've missed qualifying. Aiming to be out for race 1, fingers crossed. So, yeah, shame really because we've lost the track time in free practice 2. We needed the track time to learn the track, to get on a bit, but onwards and upwards hopefully. That's truck racing.
Yeah, absolutely. As I can see there, lots of parts.
As you can see underneath, you know, the old spring's coming out. I think we've just located a new spring. So once we get the old one out, new one in, back together, wheels on and off we go. It sounds simpler, and it is really.
The problem is there's still a spring missing. Can anybody help?
I think we've got one coming up. I'm literally just sorting that out now because we run a different size to most other teams, see. So failing that, the next option is to change both front springs to a smaller size. A lot more work. So that will be not race 1, that will be a race 2, hopefully. So we get there. We're not giving up. We're not going home yet.
That sounds good. We keep our fingers crossed. Then. Thank you very much for your time in this situation here.
Cool. Yeah, and thank you for coming down. Yeah, hopefully we'll be sorted. See you on track.
See you on track. That sounds very good. Speaking of track, these are the results of the qualifying number 1 of this final episode of this race weekend. So I'm going to say bye-bye, hand over to our commentators, and I'm really looking forward to race number 1 with you, Simon, and with you also, of course, the audience.
Thank you very much, Christina. Yep, fantastic qualifying session once again there for Norbert Kish. Takes another pole position, 1:57.4 the time, 1.1 seconds clear of Sascha Lenz with Antonio Albacete behind him. Jochen Hahn starting from 4th on the grid, but look at how close it was with the times. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez was in 5th place with Andrei Kurzim in 6th. Steffi Halm will start 7th with Louis Riquenco on the same row of the grid. And then importantly, in the Chrome class, Mark Taylor and Stefan Faas starting together 9th and 10th from the 5th row of the grid. Then we'll have John Newell alongside Jonathan Andre on row 6. Bradley Smith next up in 13th ahead of Clemens Hecker, with Luke Garrett and Craig Reed making it an all-British 8th row of the grid. Simon Faulkner, fingers crossed, will be back out there in 17th position to make up another very strong grid to complete our 2024 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. That's going to be all for now, though, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for the first qualifying session of this weekend. Our next race will start just before 3 o'clock, as you can see there, and then we will be back at 5:10 this evening for the second race of the weekend. We hope to see you there. Thanks very much for watching. Chaz Draycott and the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship signing off. We'll see you soon.